It's all right. Go through the other side and...
No, I'll get him.
Excellent. Well done. Put him in the bag as soon as possible. Well done. Got the second one you caught?
Yep. Yes, thanks.
Oh, you can
Slightly larger.
You can have a count.
You're a little one. You come here right now.
Don't let it get under the fence. That's the only thing we're worried about.
Okay, I got him.
All right, guys. Have you guys at the front all caught cane toads now? Yep. All right. Do you guys mind moving to the back a little bit?
Is it alright to put them in the same bag?
Yep.
There's a big one in the... None yet?
No.
Maybe another night. Oh, go get it, Mum. Yeah, I've got one. Mum hasn't caught one. I see one. Quick, Mum.
Be decisive, Mum. Just scoop it and grab it. You got it?
Tell you what, it wasn't a very smart cane toad.
Well done, Jane.
Okay.
That is a pretty decent size. That's a good one.
When cane toads were first discovered in the Sutherland Shire, we weren't sure how many there were and how far they've actually managed to establish into the Shire. This is Taren Point Nature Reserve, a wetland of international significance. It also contains Sydney's largest remaining salt marsh community. The cane toad, or the marine toad that is known overseas, would actually survive quite well here. After the first season of the eradication that the working group worked on, it became apparent through all of our surveys that cane toads actually hadn't established on National Park and that they were in fact localised in the Taren Point industrial area. However, we know through their impacts already that we need to maintain vigilance because they are so close and it's only a stepping stone to the nature reserve. So it's our duty as national parks to keep surveying this area to make sure that they do not establish in this pristine environment.
That's a cane toad. Where? See the way it's sitting up a little bit?
Yeah, hard against the wind.
So they're going to go over here?
No, we can't.
Over here, come in. These are big ones. These weren't out a few weeks ago.
After this first year, we now really have a good benchmark we can use for comparison. We know how many toads there were last year, how many of each sex, how many juveniles compared to adults, and what their health status is and what they died of. And also now we do actually have the funding, which gives us a good head start in this project, and we have tried a lot of different techniques. And I think the most important tool in this whole project was really people power, people out there collecting the toads with their hands.
All right, guys, you can go in. There's a fence just here. There's an opening just here that we can get around, and then we're straight back to the cars.
And we always knew that the other tools, traps, dogs, playback and so on, were just tools that would help us to find a few additional toads here and there.
In New South Wales, we're really fortunate. Climate helps us enormously in our fight against cane toads. We have already undertaken several highly successful control programs for cane toads in this state, and it is likely that we can actually prevent the further spread of cane toads, particularly along coastal New South Wales. Now, we're fortunate, as I said, because being in a temperate location, the breeding opportunities for cane toads are considerably limited, and because of that, we are able then to target particularly our toad musters to the beginning of the breeding season. So we can take out all of the fecund females, all of the males when they're starting to get a bit saucy, and make sure that breeding doesn't happen, and without breeding, populations do not survive for long.
Overall, I'm really happy with how the project has gone, and that's really mainly thanks to the considerable efforts of Matt Greenlees, Stuart Harris especially, and Jason Bishop and our rangers. They've been out there a lot of times and they've collected a lot of toads with their hands. So I think it was really predominantly the manual collection that has made the big difference in this project, but also the public has responded really well. Council has handed out leaflets and brochures, and they have given information to all the local landholders, and that has helped a lot to inform the public, to be aware, and a lot of people have reported cane toads when they did find them.
I appreciate your volunteering, especially I will say the bushcare volunteers. You guys have astounded me again, your community spirit. So thank you very much for coming out. So female. Thanks.
take me off on its own. He said, that'll do me, I'm out of here.
That's a good size. That's another female. There's 2 in here.
So who's count?
That's 3 so far. That's another female. I think this is going to be the biggest one.
Why are they not jumping away?
Because they're big ones. What's going to hurt them? This doesn't seem like exciting, but I've been with researchers before, and if you don't check what you think you've caught, you find something dead in a bag. So it's very important to check this. And if it was a native frog, I'd be saying who caught this, because most people would know what type of bag they were carrying and stuff, and would have to take it back to where we caught it.
That's a big one too.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So what's that, 9 in total?
9 in total, which isn't a bad effort, especially seeing they're all females.
Right, well, I was beginning to think in the early part we weren't going to get one.
Yeah, well,
So have they all got eggs inside them now? No.
it looks to me like they've all got eggs.
Overall, we'd have to say we're very, very pleased with the outcome. Not only have we been able to collect large numbers of toads, but more importantly, we've been able to locate breeding sites that the cane toads have been using, and being able to make sure that they can no longer be used as breeding sites for cane toads. Furthermore, we've been able to identify potential movement corridors that cane toads could use to get into more remote locations away from the Taren Point area. And of course, we've been putting in barriers to the movement of cane toads from those areas. So basically, we've confined the cane toads to Taren Point, and the few that are there are going to find it very hard to get out. Having been involved in quite a few cane toad control programs now, I have to say one thing comes through loud and clear. The cane toad control programs that work are those that involve the largest number of people. Often controlling cane toads really comes down to having enough bodies on the street, enough pairs of eyes looking, finding where the toads are, and enough people who are willing to come out and actually spend cold nights wandering around looking for toads, collecting toads, or just simply reporting suspicious sightings to us. Without that, we really have no hope of ever controlling toads.
You got your gloves on?
Yeah.
This is worth its weight in gold, that. 40,000 eggs. Any other cane toads here?
Yeah, the families.
So there's one in there. Alright guys, we have only caught cane toads, which is excellent. We caught 15 tonight, which is pretty good, 15. So thank you very much, I really appreciate it. Tonight was a very successful night. We had over 25 people, caught 15 cane toads. No one hurt themselves. The biggest issue with these type of things is making sure no one hurts themselves. But 15 was sensational in that there was 4 females. In the areas that we were looking at, I'm concerned of them being transportation corridors or vectors, and also that they could be areas where new breeding colonies could be formed. So I didn't take the volunteers into the best cane toad sites as such. It's that I needed to survey areas with heaps of people to find the few individuals, because I'm using the cycleway as a blocking barrier to, for movement of the cane toads into other areas. Because while we've got them contained in a little 4 kilometre or so radius, there are control things that we can do. We need to remember that cane toads can move up to 5 k's in actually a night, so it's just an ongoing process. But apart from that, very happy, had good support, and that's about it.
A great deal of the success of the program so far has been due to the fact that so many different groups have been able to come together and work together, such as the Office of Environment Heritage and in particular the National Parks and Wildlife Rangers. Sutherland Shire Council's obviously been a big driver in the program. The university's now involved. community groups such as the Frog and Tadpole Study Group, but also the broader community in general. It's just imperative to get as many people involved, and it's a really good example of how people coming together has made it effective so far, and we'll rely on that to make it effective in the future.
I'm often asked whether we're ever likely to get rid of cane toads from the Taren Point area. The answer to that question is unfortunately yes and no. To date, we've been very, very successful at getting rid of a large number of toads and stopping toads from continuing to breed at Taren Point. In the long run, yes, we may be able to exterminate toads entirely from the Taren Point area, but the problem is that toads are quite cunning animals, and also that Taren Point is an active industrial area. There are lots of trucks moving in and out of the site, there are lots of goods being moved in and out, shipping containers coming in from all parts of the state and from overseas. And toads are wonderful stowaway animals. They're very, very good at hiding away, being carried across the countryside and popping up when you least expect them. You are looking at a highly successful invasive species. The reason the toads are so successful is that they can go for long periods of time without being seen, lying doggo in quite dark, quiet spaces, and then when you least expect them, then they return, and all of a sudden, you know, people get upset because toads are back. We know that toads are difficult animals to deal with. We've encountered them in other parts of New South Wales in particular, for instance in Port Macquarie and Harrington. We're using methods rather similar to the ones that we're using now at Taren Point. We have been able to totally exterminate the toads. So we are hopeful that we will be able to get rid of them from Taren Point. But as I say, the likelihood is that toads will return, probably on the back of trucks, probably in shipping containers, and unless there's somebody there who is vigilant, somebody who is on the lookout for toads, we will not know if they've returned. So the answer to the question is, for the long-term control of toads, for the long-term elimination of toads from Taren Point, it all depends on the community being ever vigilant. One of the things we have learnt from all of this is that a lot of Sydney-siders in particular don't really know what a toad looks like, and so we have had to do a fair bit of training. Please, if you do think you found a toad, don't kill it. Just put it in a little box with some little air holes in it, keep it in a nice, cool, damp place, and then report the toad to either the local council or to the National Parks and Wildlife Service. And somebody who does know toads will come out and deal with it. Come on, you're coming with me.
Caught 15 tonight, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it.